In our interaction with the Minister of Sport, which is our line ministry, and even in our interaction with the Treasurer, there is absolutely no doubt about the commitment of government that they will ensure that this tournament is successful, not only in word, by deed as well, in terms of making sure that we get appropriate funding and the cities are supported accordingly. And I think it's a commitment they made as early as April. So yes, I think that yes, there may be anxiety of the actual amount, but where we sit, even when we met as a board today, there's no anxiety in terms of the amount, because government is committed and has assured us as a board, because we're a board much as we're 100% owned by SAFA, but government is a key stakeholder here, that the resources will put at our disposal to make sure that we achieve what we need to achieve. And I think that it's not just the number that gets given to the LOC that's critical. You must remember that government departments in their numbers will also give various support. So it's all that budget that needs to be taken to cabinet. You've got the police, you have got health, you have got communications, you have got energy, etc. All these people need to make sure that the guarantees that we've given to CAF can be taken care of. And I think that's what cabinet will be looking in totality. So that's why we say we've got no anxiety, because the assurance has been given. I think insofar as the national partners are concerned, I think that we are comfortable on course. I'm sure in the next 2 to 3 weeks we'll announce the first group of national partners that will come on board. Obviously, we're going through this process of clarifying various issues, but we have got partners that were at a contract stage at the stage where we're now dotting the T's and the I's. But I think in the next 2 to 3 weeks we'll announce those national partners. Well, we're targeting to get 5 or 6 national partners in the various categories that we have, and I'm sure we'll be able to get them, which is in the airline industry, car rental industries, accommodation, logistics, and bus companies. Oh yes, I mean, our target is to look at those companies that will alleviate our budget line items. We must separate struggling with budget against what? The issue is that we have said we're going to implement particular programs that will take us to somewhere. We have implemented the programs that we've said we're going to implement. So I don't think the issue of budget should be made as a critical point that is going to make this tournament not to continue. I think we've got partners, I've said that we've got partners that are assisting us. And I'm very confident that we'll deliver all the programs and projects that I said will be delivered to make sure that we hold a successful tournament. We had a preliminary draw in July. We announced our look and feel. So we continue marching as per our timelines. And we're not concerned. Next week we're going to the Congress of CAF to go and tell them how far we are. So I don't think the issue of the budget, yes, we need the money in terms of those commitments, but I don't think that it is for us a situation where we're going to say we're going to stop and put our hands up and say there's nothing we can do. First one was to look at members of society that have got a business interest or that can understand business, and also being sensitive to past experiences around events of this nature, but also being sensitive that if you look at our gender issues, they are not balanced. Hence, it was felt that Itumeleng Dlamini and Ms. Fagude, who have served on previous committees of this nature, will be the appropriate people to be brought on board. Then we looked at the labor sector, and we arrived at Mr. Vav because we served in the 2010 World Cup, and it understands how we can best manage these issues. And then the other 2 members, we've got 2 primary broadcasters in this country, which is the SABC and the SuperSport. So we turned on to those institutions to say it's better that they sit on the board to assist us communicate. If you look at SuperSport, it's going to help us to communicate into the African continent. SABC is going to assist us to communicate to South Africans. Besides that, they've got contracts with us. But I think that that's a critical component, and hence the 2 people from the SABC and SuperSport. And then we then looked at sport in general. So that because this Afcon, one of the commitments SAFA made, that this is not just a SAFA issue. It's for the whole country. It was critical for us to make sure that all the other sporting organizations can be involved and can feel part of this. So we went to the mother body and said, we want the head of that mother body so that they can create a direct link between us and the rest of the sporting fraternity in the name of Gideon. The things that we put in our brief is to make sure that we've got a ticketing system that, whilst it is secure, but it makes sure that it's accessible to every South African wherever they are. And I think it's a commitment that we have. And I think for us, we're comfortable with the proposals that we put in front of us. Obviously, we're going to get into detail with the preferred beta, which is AQ tickets, on how we're going to roll that out. But we can assure the South African public that it's not going to be complicated. We'll make sure that it's accessible to the provinces and the cities that are not even hosting, so that you can buy your ticket wherever you are and only just travel to the match wherever you are. So it does mean that if you're in Cape Town, you must go somewhere else. You must make sure that you can buy a ticket in Cape Town. Then you go to Nelson Mandela Bay to go and watch your game. We are targeting 2,500 volunteers in terms of across the cities that were in there. And yes, we are working on a tight schedule in a month's time. But we're confident. I think the spirit of volunteerism is not a new thing. We're confident that people volunteered for the World Cup. It's still fresh in their minds. So we're comfortable that we're going there. But also we have got strategic alliances with various institutions in the country, from the National Youth Development to the various SITAs and so on, and the various universities. So we are going to put and channel this process to those institutions as well, to start activating people to come in there. And obviously the cities in their own areas will also start to activate people to try and assist. The LOC has got offices in the 5 host cities that are based at the stadiums. So a member of the public can go to those stadiums and ask for the LOC offices, and you can get the forms there to fill and submit them in those areas.